Most people just want to be good at one thing. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. But some of us, we want more. We want to know it all. We're not like everyone else. We're like Leonardo da Vinci, a man whose to-do lists didn't say buy groceries or clean the house, but things like get a human skull, measure the city of Milan. What does the tongue of a woodpecker look like? For Leonardo, this wasn't strange. This was life. He filled over 7,200 pages of notebooks with questions, sketches, and experiments, a living testament to his relentless curiosity. And this, combined with his habits and mindset, is what made him history's ultimate polymath. Today, I'm going to share 14 steps to becoming a polymath like Leonardo da Vinci. Don't skip a single step. Grab a diary, take notes, because this video might just be the thing that will make you a genius like never. So, let's get into it. Leonardo da Vinci's genius didn't come from talent alone. It came from a relentless, almost childlike curiosity that refused to rest. He filled his notebooks with endless questions. Why people yawn, how birds take flight, what makes shadows blur at their edges. He wanted to know the texture of a crocodile's jaw, the movement of water in rivers, the structure of a fetus in the womb, and even the tongue of a woodpecker. Nothing was too trivial or too strange for his attention. This curiosity wasn't just a trait. It was a way of life, a daily discipline of wonder. He studied optics to paint light more realistically, anatomy to capture every muscle, and engineering to imagine machines centuries ahead of their time. He woke up each day not chasing wealth or recognition, but simply asking, "What can I learn today?" To live like Leonardo, curiosity must become a habit. Follow your questions, study widely, stay playful, turn curiosity into action, be fueled by wonder, not utility. Curiosity is the seed of polymathy. It's the force that turns ordinary observation into extraordinary insight. Like Leonardo, we can choose to live in a state of awe, where every object, every shadow, and every sound is a door to discovery. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't obsessed with utility, he was obsessed with understanding. He dissected cadavers to study the intricate mechanics of heart valves, not because it would make him rich or even because he needed to for a painting, but because he simply had to know. He climbed mountains and examined fossils to understand why seashells were embedded in rock at high altitudes. He filled thousands of notebook pages with sketches of flying machines that would never fly, and geometry puzzles that solved nothing practical. Yet it was this very curiosity, free of agenda, that expanded his mind beyond the limits of his time. Leonardo's life teaches us something profound. Not all learning should be transactional. Knowledge is not just a tool, it's a source of joy. He studied birds, rivers, anatomy, engineering, music, and art, not because he was told to, but because he was utterly fascinated. It was this fascination that made him a polymath, weaving insights from seemingly unrelated subjects into revolutionary ideas. Leonardo da Vinci believed that true understanding begins not with the big picture, but with the smallest pieces. In his notebooks, he warned that a page cannot be understood in a single glance. You must read word by word, step by step. He applied this principle to everything he studied. A single muscle in the arm, the curve of a leaf, the shadow on a cheek. He wouldn't move on until he could sketch that single detail from memory. This obsessive focus on parts before the whole gave his art lifelike precision and his inventions unmatched depth. For Leonardo, details weren't boring. They were portals to mastery. The tilt of an eyebrow could reveal human emotion, and the angle of a feather could unlock the mystery of flight. He knew that rushing to see the whole without fully understanding each element would lead to shallow knowledge. That's why his notebooks, thousands of pages long, are filled with endless studies of small things. Seeds, hands, water ripples, gears. If you want to think like him, slow down and train your eye to see the unseen. Break everything into parts. Repetition builds mastery. Diagram your thoughts. memorize and teach. In his early years, Leonardo da Vinci was not yet the legendary inventor or anatomist we know today. He was an entertainer. He designed stage sets, pageants, and theatrical performances that blended artistry with engineering. His shows featured roaring mechanical lions, angels suspended as if flying, and dragons spewing smoke. This playful work became a secret training ground for his mind, teaching him how to merge observation with imagination. By conjuring entire worlds for the stage, Leonardo trained himself to see more than reality. He saw possibilities. That same habit of imaginative vision defined his later masterpieces. He didn't just study what was visible, he chased what was hidden, unknown, and yet to be discovered. Leonardo da Vinci was the ultimate deep diver of ideas. When something fascinated him, he didn't just scratch the surface. He tunneled down so far, he practically created new worlds. In one notebook, he attempted to square a circle not once or twice, but 169 times, filling page after page with sketches and calculations. In just 8 pages of his Codex Leicester, he documented 730 separate observations about water, and in another notebook, he compiled 67 different words to describe moving water. He obsessively measured every proportion of the human body, then did the same for horses, and even studied whirlpools and waves so carefully that his paintings of hair and rivers still feel alive today. His rabbit holes were playgrounds of discovery. Leonardo da Vinci was often criticized for being easily distracted, abandoning projects midway, or drifting into unrelated studies. Some lamented that this left the world poorer because of unfinished masterpieces. But that criticism misses the point. Leonardo's distractions weren't wasteful. They were fertile ground for genius. By letting his attention roam freely, he built a mind overflowing with unexpected connections. In the middle of painting The Last Supper, he might spend hours dissecting an ox's heart. While studying geometry, he'd suddenly switch to designing water lifts or sketching birds. These tangents gave his work a richness few could match. His so-called distractions were actually cross-pollination, a way to feed one project with the insights of another. To think like Leonardo, you need to embrace distraction strategically. See tangents as fuel, not failure. Let curiosity lead you wide, but return with purpose. Switch tasks to refresh your mind. Capture fleeting thoughts. Balance discipline with play. Leonardo da Vinci's genius didn't rest solely on imagination. It was anchored in a relentless respect for reality. Long before Galileo or Bacon formalized the scientific method, Leonardo was already experimenting, testing, and correcting himself. He refused to cling to comforting beliefs when observation proved them wrong. For example, he once thought the Earth's underground water flowed like blood in veins, but when his studies contradicted this, he abandoned the idea without hesitation. His willingness to change his mind made him not just a visionary, but a true pioneer of critical thinking. Leonardo's notebooks reveal a man unafraid to challenge tradition. Instead of trusting ancient authorities, he dissected bodies to study blood flow, sketched rock layers to understand geology, and measured nature instead of theorizing blindly. His humility before facts was one of his superpowers. He would rather be corrected by evidence than be comforted by assumptions. Leonardo da Vinci turned procrastination into an art form. While working on The Last Supper, he would sometimes stare at the wall for an hour, add a single brushstroke, and walk away. To his patron, Duke Ludovico, this wasn't laziness but a creative necessity. Leonardo believed that great ideas need time to marinate. Men of lofty genius sometimes accomplish the most when they work least, he explained, because even in moments of stillness, his mind was actively refining ideas before committing them to the canvas. This approach is what separates idle procrastination from purposeful delay. Leonardo collected knowledge, studied every detail, and then allowed his ideas to simmer until they were ready to emerge. That's why so many of his masterpieces feel timeless. They were given time to breathe. Leonardo da Vinci's relentless pursuit of perfection is both inspiring and cautionary. He famously abandoned the Battle of Anghiari and the Adoration of the Magi because he felt he couldn't execute them exactly as he envisioned. Even with finished masterpieces like Saint Anne or the Mona Lisa, he carried them with him for years, constantly refining and layering details. For Leonardo, a work of art was never truly complete. There was always another subtle adjustment waiting to be made. To apply this principle in our own lives, we have to balance Leonardo's uncompromising standards with the need for progress. Know when to polish. Set a high bar for craftsmanship. Don't rush the vision. Balance perfection with shipping. Aim for timelessness, not quick wins. Leonardo teaches us that perfectionism, when used wisely, is a superpower. It can elevate your craft beyond trends and time, but only if you also know when to release your work into the world. Leonardo da Vinci's genius wasn't grounded in abstract equations or complex formulas. He wasn't a mathematician in the traditional sense. Instead, he turned problems into pictures. Whether studying proportions, mapping reflections in mirrors, or transforming one shape into another of equal size, he drew his way to understanding. Visualization became his superpower, allowing him to see concepts others could only calculate. When most people memorize formulas, they often lose the beauty and logic behind them. Leonardo refused to separate learning from imagination. His notebooks show countless diagrams. He drew cross-sections of skulls, gears, and rivers, making ideas tangible. Even his early understanding of optics and geometry came from sketches rather than dry theory. By illustrating everything, he merged science and art into a single language. Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks are a testament to audacity of thought. He dreamed of flying machines centuries before planes, sketched diving suits before submarines, and designed war machines that looked like science fiction to his peers. He even attempted the mathematical impossible, trying to square a circle with just a ruler and compass. Many of these projects were never realized, but they weren't failures. They were training grounds for genius. By stretching beyond what was possible, Leonardo expanded his understanding of the world and paved the way for ideas far ahead of his time. Leonardo da Vinci was as much a dreamer as he was a scientist. His notebooks overflow with impossible machines: a massive crossbow, larger than a house, armored turtle-like tanks, flying contraptions powered by men, and designs for a perfectly planned city. These weren't failures. They were playgrounds for his imagination. He blurred the line between fantasy and science, and that freedom fueled breakthroughs. Even his studies of flight began not with equations, but with a childlike imitation of birds' wings, imagination sparking innovation. We love the image of the lone genius, isolated and struck by lightning bolts of brilliance. But Leonardo's life tells a different story. He flourished in collaboration. His early years in Verrocchio's studio were spent learning shoulder to shoulder with other painters and sculptors, sometimes on the very same canvases. Later, he ran his own studio like a Renaissance startup. Students executed parts of paintings while Leonardo added the final masterstrokes. His most meticulous anatomical sketches emerged from partnerships with medical experts like Marcantonio della Torre, and his theatrical designs thrived in creative teams at the Sforza court. Polymathy is not just mastery across fields, it's knowing when to invite others into your genius. Leonardo's curiosity was vast, but he kept it organized. His notebooks are full of lists that read like windows into his restless mind. Calculate the size of Milan's cathedral. Ask the Benedictine friar about hydraulics. These weren't mere reminders, they were a discipline of curiosity. Every thought, no matter how odd, was captured. To think like Leonardo. Keep a question journal. Break ideas into action steps. Record everything, even tangents. Track your skills. Reflect regularly. Lists are more than productivity tools. They're maps of your intellectual landscape, guiding your curiosity over years.